Hey, this is George with Truck Driver Nation. What I want to go over is basic concept that it's, it depends on the perspective. It depends on what you do. Yeah, I recruit for trucking companies. Everybody knows that deals with Truck Driver Nation. But the whole point is, why shouldn't you be off the truck? So why you shouldn't be a truck driver your whole career? And because there's other high-paying logistics careers to transition into. Unless you're just not a people person, some people are introverts. Some people, that's the reason. The things I give you is that you can work from home, very low cost overhead, and we're talking about extremely co low cost, less than what you're paying for what you spend in 1 week to just eat food on the road. Definitely less than what you spend in a month eating food, depending on the quality of equipment you want to have. But I'm gonna read the I've got my script here. I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna tell you how this actually figures in because I have to read scripts. I don't want to miss content for you. So anybody says, "Well, I can remember everything off their head," they must be a fucking genius. So truck driving can be a great way to make a living. It can. But staying in the industry as a truck driver for your entire career is not the best financial or lifestyle choices. Absolutely. Long hours, unpredictable schedules, time away from your family, physical wear and tear, not just on your equipment, but on you. And the income ceiling all make the essential to move to a higher paying, less physical demanding roles while using your trucking experience. So what I'm giving you is the things that since you've got the experience in the logistics community as a truck driver, you can get out of that truck and transition to a new field in logistics with really without missing a beat. You know more than what you think you do. If you've got a couple of years, you're definitely going to know it. If you got less than that, just by knowing the equipment and how the truck operates, picking up, shipping, paperwork, whatever is another section of it because you got to know all this as being a freight dispatcher. I'm going to tell you about every section that I know about because I've been in logistics a long time. Whether whichever one appeals to you, I'm not trying to undermine truck driving, but I am trying to undermine people having to suffer on these trucks and giving away their life and um and then turning around and there's been no reward. Your family suffers. Okay. They shouldn't have to suffer because you feel like that you can't excel in the industry and it's well within your capability to excel. Okay. I'm not attacking nobody. I'm not attacking a trucking company, but I'm going to use this as a truck driver because I'm actually in the other side of the industry as well. But there's some real quality idiots as freight dispatchers and brokers and owner operators. There's always somebody in the herd you're gonna be like, hell, how do they even know how to breathe? But there's also some real skilled people in it, and they have their reasons for staying in whatever sector inside the logistics industry that they are in based on you know, they don't really want to grow. They're satisfied with it. Totally get it. And that's totally acceptable. But for those that I hear so often that are looking for a new position, since we do recruit, this is for you guys. You don't keep having to run from company to company to company. You're in the wrong section of logistics. You need to come out of it, but you don't have to come out of it where you've lost all the experience that you've gained as a truck driver. So let's go over these, and maybe some of this will be a compelling enough for you to get a hold of us or somebody to get out of that particular section of the market you're in and to explore other sections that one, you may never know where your calling is because you can change it. There's things you can change in life and things you can't change in life. But if you're miserable, you need to make this change. You got one life to live, so don't waste it. Just going repeating the same process and expect a different result or a different demeanor in yourself because of what you're actually doing. Now, why you should get out of the driving trucks yourself? I know these are going to seem negative, but they're the truth. You got long hours and stress. You may not see the stress, but the stress is going to come in the form of basically physically not sleeping correctly. You know, cortisol, these different hormones that your body produces that only produces them while you sleep, your dietary issues, the vitamin, not just the vitamins, but even the micronutrients that you don't get in the food that you're eating out of those truck stops do affect your overall health and end up in the final end, your longevity of actually being here on Earth. If you're ready to leave, I don't know, put a gun in your mouth, hang yourself in the bathroom. I've seen it a million times as being a paramedic. Some people take it square serious and they get the job done. And then we're there to clean it up. But as a truck driver, you should not have to feel like that. I was feeling really closed inside those trucks some days. I was just tired. I wanted to be home. I wanted to be on the river fishing. I wanted to be in the woods, like with deer season open. I know those are my things because I'm a country person, but you shouldn't allow the truck to dominate you. You got a very small sleeper. You've got a noise, a decimal level in there. My ears ring all the time now from being inside that truck. There's nobody that I can actually file a claim against to compensate me for the damage that I've incurred by being on that truck. Close calls, stress, people wanting to steal loads, mess with your equipment, arguing with people because they're in some kind of bad mood, and now all of a sudden you're being a normal person. Now you've got to be defensive all of a sudden. So you go from 0 to 100, fight or flight type of deal because you don't know these people. But anyways, you're always on the road dealing with traffic, weather, and tight schedules. And that's what are the long hours and stress actually accumulate to. Time away from the family. Most over-the-road truckers spend weeks away from home, missing valuable time with loved ones. We're talking about months. Let's not go with weeks. Right now, they got it. Trucking companies want a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks before you get home time, and you're not going to get hired unless you agree to that. And they actually put it in contract because I'm a recruiter. Okay, income ceiling. There's definitely income ceiling. This is one of the few sections. That truck, you're talking about, let's say if you buy even a piece of garbage, we're talking about a truck, $40,000. That's just for the truck. That's without the trailer. Those tires, all the fuel, everything that goes with it for maintenance to keep that engine going. Okay, when you get the truck, can you ensure who actually had that truck before you? I've had trucks where they've rolled them over on their side and they didn't even tell the people that was buying it. I mean, is the chassis okay? There's so many different things you have to actually inspect on that truck and actually be ready to go. You need to have money put back just to make sure in case something happens on the road, you're not out of pocket in such a way that now you can't move the truck anymore. But you need to keep understand that you're going to spend a lot of time. I mean, lose a lot of money because you're capped at a ceiling. With other portions of the industry, since it's low income, you can do a lot of things to actually generate more income. Then doesn't require you to do more than babysit because once you learn that new skill, there's always other people that want to get into it, and you just show them their task. And with software that's inside of what we do, we monitor people. I literally go through and I monitor what they did for the day. I mean, if because I mean, like right now, I got a virtual assistant. Well, actually, also let me use the one that does my data entry. I pay him $200 a month, right? He does his job, but I give him opportunities to just besides outside the $200 per month, because that's how much he's getting paid. He works full time every week, but I also give him access to be able to, if he generates people that are coming to the, let's say, freight dispatch school, or they want to be a recruiter, or if he brings truckers in, that he makes actual money off of that. So that encourages him to actually push forward, and he's good with it. Now, he's obviously coming from another country where the income's really low, so this is good money for him, right? And I'm always trying to push him to the next level. But when you're dealing with people, and you got to know this about yourself, it's not just the people you're dealing with, but you got to be able to gauge and read people. If they're not producing, if you don't produce, how can we afford to pay you? You think money's endless? There's trucking companies right now, and I hear a lot of stuff because I was in trucking companies and I make friends. So you get a lot of, it's not gossip. That's the worst part. It's really what's going on inside the companies. You got your crap that goes on gossip. I blow that out of my ears. That's just gossip. But we're talking about the actual, um, the overall company position, as I guess you would call it, the health of the company, how they're deteriorating so bad because their infrastructure is no good. If they fired all their lieutenants, all of a sudden you think you're fixing to go get a bunch of new people to fill in that gap. You are 100% highly mistaken. When you get people to work with you, they trust your judgment, they trust your leadership, they trust by watching you lead by example, then you've got a team. You don't just throw them away. You do everything you can to make corrective actions, and it's going to be in their own skill set. If they're not going to make those actions, then you would obviously have to go ahead and separate from because you're not on the same path. Not everybody's walking the same path. And logistics, you're either walking the logistics course, trying to understand logistics, and willing to be receptive to actual feasible, logical, and correct information that's being sent your way to help you grow. Health issues, where do you start? Okay. Even in myself, I'm pretty healthy. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm out of shape, but I did flatbed, step deck, and car hauler, right? I even did RGN. But thing is, I have all kinds of stuff that hurts me. My neck hurts me. My shoulder hurts me. My left side of my ribs hurt me, right? I worry about all these different things. I go get checked out, but they're not seeing nothing. They say, oh, you got intercostal chondritis, or my lower back hurts me, right? Because I've been driving. All of a sudden, I got to jump out, start unloading cars, unstrapping tarps, rolling tarps up, all this, and I haven't even stretched. You don't have time to sit there and stretch. You got to get to work because you need to get out off there. You need to get back moving. You shouldn't be having to live like that. I can live in this computer. We go walking whenever we want. Try to walk in the middle of the night because most of society's in bed. I know that sounds weird, but I like walking at night. Late at night, we got a big park, plenty of lights lit up all the way around, it's all by the ocean, and we go down there and we go walking. Besides the dogs that are stray that we might have issues with, if you know how to deal with those, then you're good. So you can find the things that you can do in your life to make corrective measures in addition to your diet, because now you're not eating from the truck stops, you're eating at home. But the health issues, sitting for those long hours, eating that fast food, and lack of exercise, they really do contribute to some serious health risk. And they're not actual risks. It's going to happen. Okay. Your circulatory system, you are an organism. Brain, heart, liver, lungs, pancreas, intestines, all of it counts. Those kidneys, you can't live like that and expect to not have a secondary issue. It's just not good for you. And you're going to shorten your life up by 11 years. That's what the numbers are. And I'm all in the math. So 11 years, I believe, actually exists. So I may have screwed myself out of 11 years of my life. It's not that that's a long time in the scheme of things. If you're an eternal creature, if you're an eternal creature, but that's time I would have loved to have spent with my family, my friends, my wife, traveling the earth, seeing what God created, and experience these things for myself. Job instability, economic downturns, automation, and regulations can impact job security. Okay, automation's coming, so prepare for it. AI and truck automation is here. If you think that that's going to fall off the way, you better listen. You need to make sure that whatever you're doing, you're implementing things in your life that make you competitive in the given market coming. Like even my whole business, I'm trying to put it into AI. I just don't have the right people to work with that are more knowledgeable than me because, like my one of my mentors said in life, if you don't know something, then you hire the man that does. But I haven't found nobody that's impressive enough that they can actually be that mediation between what I need and my vision for what I'm doing and their skill set to be able to get it there without having to deal with a learning curve. I don't need a learning curve. I need you to know it because I need to see results. Now, as far as but anyways, I'm gonna just leave it there. That's basically, the reasons that you really need to look at transitioning out of the trucks and look at rules that pay more. These things they offer you, a balanced lifestyle, and they allow you to use your experience as a truck driver, okay, to and into these new fields, and it's really a real smart move for you. That's the reason I don't have a shortage of people interested in becoming freight dispatchers. Um, it's sad we only charge $500 for a course, and it's a damn shame that a man doesn't have $500 in his pocket. You are from the United States of America, and you don't have $500 in your pocket just for us to get you going, and we don't even make our money on the front end. Okay. And but anyways, let's move on to some of the other issues. So the best and fastest path to high and higher income is independent freight dispatcher. That's a fact because you're already in trucking. It's just the easiest for you to transition into while you learn other aspects, which you can basically tag them on to what you're doing to do other sections. But freight dispatching, on everything I've done, everybody trained, the failure is only for those people that just are not assertive. For those that want it, they kill it. Some of them kill it so fast. I would love to have them working for me, but they're so good they don't need me. They're doing their own thing. Um, the biggest thing about being a freight dispatcher is obviously you got low startup costs. There's no special licenses or expensive equipment needed. Um, you can work from anywhere. There's no long hours on the road, no chaining, all the things, tarping, dealing with lines that get loaded, get unloaded, all the different variables, so all that's out of the way, which definitely takes a lot of stress off your shoulders. Uh, so it's the fastest route to high income. You can start making serious money within just a few months. And that's the great part about it. Within months. Okay. Um, the leverage of your experience, you already know trucking. So you're giving advantage over beginners. Big advantage. You won't believe. You know what drive-in reefer flatbed step deck is, right? You've looked under trailers, you swung the doors or whatever it is, even on your tractor, and flipped the engine. You know what the parts are, you know what the tires and everything it has to do with it. You know what the scale houses are, you know what it is to be on the highway, you know what it is to be shut down in truck stops. I know this don't sound like much, but that's experience that it's not just a word or a concept, it's something that you have hands on so you can understand the situation that you're the drivers that you're going to be dispatching for of where they're standing, and you can definitely this is a good point to be able to empathize with people on that level. Now, how you earn. Dispatchers are charged between 5 and 10% of the total cost. That is a fair rate. I wouldn't go below 7 because carriers are taking 20 to 28% off of the overall gross value. Um, with just 5 to 10 owner operators, you can generate 5,000 to 20,000 a month. Now that right there is the actual money that you're making. So you're going from beginner rate all the way up to more experienced. Okay. And you can actually do more than this. Now, if we're just giving you an example, so if you got a truck, it's basically doing 6,000 a week, and you're just doing 7%. So that gives you $420 per truck, right? So if you got 10 trucks, you're making 4,200 a week. So that gives you about 16,800 per month. Right. Those numbers are correct, by the way. So you need to think about what we're saying, but it all has to do with you. The money's there. You've got to sit there and get it handled. And you're not working every moment. Set actually business hours. Unless something's going on with that truck or that load, you're done. Just stay on top of the mission to keep them loaded. Um, how long to reach his income, many dispatchers hit $10,000 per month within about 6 to 12 months. That's not bad at all. You're not doing that on an 18 wheeler, but and also you're not spending all that time on that truck. This is now you can actually hit it better if you scale it up because you're already going to be at the point where you know how to be a freight dispatcher. So if you scale it up, then you got more money coming out of more dispatchers where you're almost kind of like making a passive income. They're doing the work, but you still babysit them because you're going to watch their numbers to make sure that the gross revenue for that given truck and trailer is there. So keep that in mind. Now, here's some other higher paying logistics careers that you should consider. But I'm gonna tell you, freight dispatching is the first one, in my opinion, that you need to do when you're coming off that truck. That's the reason. That's the cornerstone of me getting people transition out of the truck. Got fast because you're already making money fast. And the other ones have got different points, and I'll try to hit some of them. I'm not going to go in so depth with them because freight dispatching is what I concentrate on. But freight brokerage, you're talking about 70,000 to 250,000 per year. Now you can also do that in dispatching as well. Okay. Like I said, if you want to outsource, I got cheap people that are very knowledgeable and they can get you there. They want the job and they need the job. But anyways, with freight brokerage, what you do is you're connecting shippers with carriers, and you take a percentage of the load cost. So you're just selling freight. It does require a brokerage license, or you can be under a broker license as a freight agent, and also includes building relationships, shipper relationships, because you're dealing with direct shippers. Now, top brokers, they make about 20,000 a month within the first 6 months, but you got to push hard. You got to do inbound, outbound calls. So, give or take, the average person I've seen has been somewhere between six and about, I've had people go all the way out to 2 years, but they did make that goal though. Okay. Think about it, 20,000 a month, you know. Um, Now, remember, it depends on how you're setting yourself up with this. That's the reason I say freight dispatching does so well because some of this money could be going to the broker because you're a freight agent. Okay, so that's the difference. As far as being a trucking company owner, this is really and truly gross revenue, but it could be net as well. But you're talking about 100,000 to 500,000 per year. You're going to end up owning multiple trucks and hire drivers to scale your business. That there's your biggest problem is now you're dependent on people in a position that you don't like. That you're expecting them to be in that position. I'm protecting you from yourself when I'm talking about this owner operator deal. You have a high investment, but high rewards. But I see so many trucking companies. That's why my recruiting position is so secure because it's a challenge just to keep people on the trucks. And you really and truly, These carriers are making fake claims to get the people on the truck, and they're constantly, it's a meat grinder turning them over, and that's with a lot of the carriers. So you have to be you have to understand what's going on. So if you want to go into truckdrivernation.com, I have jobs listed back there. Pull them. I'll tell you what's going on with them. This might take 2 to 5 years to grow your fleet to significant profits, but there's other ways to do it. But I'm going to leave it as simple as this, because when it comes to actually building a fleet, you need somebody that knows how it's done, and recruiters are probably some of the best people, because I was a truck driver, owner, operator, and I did recruiting. So I understand where the numbers, where it's the variable, the fixed costs, and I understand in the industry how you strategize within what's offered to make this happen. But anyways, next one is going to be logistics consultant. I haven't really pushed on this to learn a lot about it, but you're just a consultant. So you're making 80,000 to 150,000 per year. And that's what I do for people. I mean, I'm not calling myself a professional consultant because I don't consult people all the time. But I have people coming in, hey, can you build my business? And I was like, I can build your business, but you got to provide the people. You got to provide the software. I'm gonna literally go through it, show you how it's set up, what you do, your day-to-day routine on whichever way you want to set it up. But you got to have people that are dedicated to getting trained, because I don't want to be a part of your business. I just tell you how it's done, show you how it's done. And at that point, once you get going, you just kind of figure out, I mean, because if you want to keep paying me, pay me. I'll keep working and doing it. But at some point, I really need to get out of your way, because at some point you're going to know enough that you're not going to need me no more. What you're doing is helping companies to optimize their shipping, that reduce their costs and increase their efficiency. So if you don't know how trucks are priced, how you've got to do maintenance on them or anything that fuel, um, like I said, the fixed costs and variable costs, then you don't need to tell somebody that you know how to consult them to get where they need to get. Now, it definitely requires industry expertise and networking. And so I've got enough on all of it that it got me a clear picture, and I understand how it all functions because I did it myself, even as a fleet manager, to understand how to keep the maintenance costs down or how to set it up in a way that none of the maintenance costs is even on you. Now, this takes 1 to 3 years to build a reputation and client base. Um, the thing is, it's easy for people like me because I'm already broker. I mean, I'm already a recruiter, right? So I can easily go into the carriers for which ones, and they give me calls and they say, hey, what are you doing right now? Because they have friends that have businesses that are succeeding because they don't know how to manage their business. And that sucks for them because they've got high dollar investments, because they've got the equipment, all that insurance mess, all the stuff that DOT and FMCSA requires to get that equipment running, and then including getting the driver, make sure they meet all the requirements and getting them boarded and getting them out the truck, and now making sure that they run effectively and they actually produce the gross income that's needed for that truck, in addition to make sure they're getting the right freight. There's a fine balance of making all those gears run and roll. Now, what you need to do if you're going to staying in a truck driver position forever limits your earning potential, your freedom, and your health. So, if you want to make more money, work from home, and use your trucking knowledge, become an independent freight dispatcher. And it's definitely the fastest and easiest way for higher incomes, more than truck driver. Don't even have to think about it. You're definitely gonna make more than a truck driver. But when you're looking at all these factors and what you need to transition, you're not hung a truck driver. You can do these other things because you're already skilled. But don't let people know you got that CDL, because if you're going under somebody's carrier and you want to work with them, and I'm not saying that they all will, but if they know you got a truck driver license and you are a CDLA driver, they're going to try to manipulate to get you into their equipment, because that's where the biggest hurt is always at. And that's a damn shame because they're making the least amount of money. Truckers are the ones that keep the lights on. So, but anyways, I hope this helped you out, gave you a little bit of understanding of why you really do need to get off the truck. Okay, you can spend years on there. If you want to stay on there to the day you die in the back of the sleeper, that's your prerogative. But for those people that sense and know in their heart that they don't need to be in these trucks, they need to make a transition out of that equipment, and they don't know how to do it besides getting off and going to work for Domino's or whatever you might have done before you get there, and you just don't want to go that path. You love logistics, but you don't like the punishment that you're having to pay as being a truck driver and the disrespect that you get, because ain't nobody going to talk behind your back when you're sitting right there in front of their face, because you can put them in check real quick. And that's just kind of the way it is in transportation. But if you want to have more questions or you want to get out of this given process that you're hung into, obviously come to Truck Driver Nation, look at our course. If you want to be a recruiter, I can give you that easy enough too. But definitely look at freight dispatching. I need you to make more money faster and quicker than what you're doing just by taking care of the guys that you used to run down the interstate with. Now you're on this side, you're able to help them. Um, but anyways, I hope that helps you out some. I hope this made some kind of a picture of what we're talking about when it's so important for you to come out of that truck. I mean, it's that people's like, well, if you're too assertive on it, they're like, oh, you're lying. I'm assertive on this because it's what I know. Me as a driver recruiter, I hear this every single day. We're not talking about just once in a while. I get phone calls even on the weekend. People need a new carrier to work with. But the biggest question I always ask them is, what happened? Okay, when I'm asking that loaded question, what happened? That means what happened to your job? Why are you quitting that job? What's the deal? Whether they got fired, they left the equipment, sometimes they abandoned the equipment because they're being disrespected. You got all your stuff on the truck, but the biggest thing is it's not always just that. How much money did a lot of them get cheated out of? Especially if they did lease purchase or lease rental. So, I can't tell you how many times. Well, they took 8,000, they took 15,000, or whatever it is, and then they didn't pay me my last paycheck neither. And they just abandoned me, threw me out of the truck, called the police, had the police remove me from the equipment. There's all kinds of scenarios of what I've went through, and I hear on a day-to-day basis of what their given situation is because I've got to represent them for the new carrier if they're going to continue the path of being a truck driver. And then still, they're trying to get a job, but they don't want to go back in the trucks because it's disheartening to feel like you're supposed to be, optimist versus being a pessimist, and you're so much of a pessimist because of the negative events you've had happen to you by the last given carriers. And some of these guys have had job after job after job real fast. And when I call companies, they're only supposed to give you a certain amount of information about the driver, and a lot of them volunteer a lot of stuff that tells me the professionalism of that given carrier because they give way too much that they shouldn't be given. It's actually illegal. But then again, the truck drivers, when I'm looking at their CDL scan, I can see a pattern of what's going on. But you have to understand, if we look at that PSP, we can actually determine really what was going on. Was it pre-trip things that were actually causing the DOT violation, or was it PTI stuff that was causing a violation, or was it because that carrier didn't have enough money to actually do maintenance and stuff to keep it up? So we see it. We do it every day, so we know how to look at something, and you know when it sounds right, you know when it looks right or whatever, and then you know when it looks wrong. But anyways, I'm going to kind of leave it at there. I hope this information helped you to understand you do have an option as a truck driver. You don't have to keep beating yourself down, beating yourself to death, losing that respect for yourself because you feel like I can't get ahead. It's not just you. You're not in this boat alone. Everybody experiences it, even I did. Okay. So give me a call at Truck Driver Nation. Visit the website. Phone number is 210-343-1118, 210-343-1118. Shoot me an email, support@truckdrivernation.com. Other than that, if you're out there on the road, be safe. I hope this helps you maybe brainstorming. So when you're riding down the road, counting those mile markers, think about these things. You know, give me a call. We can discuss it and kind of see if I have an option for you that can get you out of that equipment. But anyways, thank you for your time. You're out that road. Please be safe out there. And thank you for visiting Truck Driver Nation. Have a great one.